Hey, welcome back. This is Press for Time. I am your host, Tyler Nethers, joined as always by the wonderful Benny Rose. And this week, we have a special guest. It's only week 2, but we have our first guest. All right.
Woo!
We
I'm
have,
in.
yes, we have the wonderful, the brilliant, the witty, the hilarious, the
Oh,
incomparably beautiful,
oh,
my very best friend for 20 years now, Mr. Austin Knupp.
hello, it's me.
Welcome, dude.
Me.
Welcome.
And my cat apparently comes in right when you're introducing.
Of course.
Spotlight. Cats love the spotlight. Nothing wrong
Uh-huh.
with that.
Uh-huh. Dude, welcome. It's so awesome to have you here for our second episode of the reboot.
Yes, I was there for the original one too. I think
I
the
know.
second episode may be there as well.
That's very possible. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Good stuff.
Everyone will know you
hmm
because
Yeah.
our
All the
thousands,
previous fans will remember me.
yes, the sultry tones of Austin Knupp.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a couple things. I'm gonna let Benny go first. He's got some stuff. So real quick, we recorded an episode yesterday, and I personally think it was a fantastic episode. And it got unsaved. I don't know what happened. We worked with Zoom customer support. The recording just got sent out into no man's land, and it does not exist anywhere on my computer or in their cloud servers. So we don't have that episode. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a real quick, we're going to do a real quick recap of what we talked about yesterday. And once we're done doing the recap, we're going to dive into what this episode was going to be. So I'm going to let Benny kick it off and take it to start, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, Bittersweet. This is like our 2.5, if you will. The podcast that never was will be a fable to tell for years to come. But the most important things that we really talked about was really important thank yous. That was really, really a big part of that show that we want to make sure we get through. So the first and foremost is a very special thank you to our buddy Juan, also known as Codex 84. He is our super, super talented, ultra reliable artist that is responsible for our helping of the rebranding, the new media assets that you've seen. You'll potentially start seeing more as we grow as a brand. And we couldn't have done it without him. So thank you, Juan, from the bottom of our hearts. You really are always there, for me. And, for those that are not familiar, me being a musician as well, my band, Neon Arcadia, almost all of the assets that have been done with that band, art-wise, was also done by Codex. So we'll make sure to have a link so you can check out his art. He's also an artist available for hire. So highly recommend. You're in need of logos, overlays, things for social media. He can do it all. So thank you again. And the other big thank you we had was to each and every one of you because we had our first show. We didn't really heavily promote it. It's something we've been wanting to do for a while, and we got almost 300 views within a couple of days. To us, that's a big deal. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that. Thank you for the returning listeners. Thank you for the new listeners. Thank you for the ones that just, did us a favor. Hey, we put up something new. Want to check it out? Whether you like it or not, thank you for stopping in. And for those that are still here, welcome. We
Yeah.
have some great, 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 great content coming for you.
Yeah, and that 300 was just YouTube. The podcast, including old episodes. So releasing the new episode brought people to come listen to some of the old ones, and we hit just over 1,000 downloads on our older episodes and the new
Wow.
episode. Now that it's been pushed out,
Nice.
so at least 1,000 of you have listened to us ramble for 30 minutes. So seriously, thank you. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, thank you. You guys are awesome. So I mean, outside of the thank yous, we dove into the Nintendo Direct that we just had this past week, and for the most part, our lack of severe interest,
Yeah,
in what was shown, and Tyler's thoughts of it just kind of showing the end of the Nintendo Switch as we know it.
yeah.
So we won't spend too much time speaking to that, but the main things that we discussed was Zelda. You know,
seventy
Tyler, you can jump
dollars.
in.
$70, man. $70 for a Switch game at the end of its life cycle.
For a guy that's also not a fan of Zelda. of Breath of the
What else?
Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. I love Zelda. I was disappointed in Breath of the Wild. I said yesterday that I was going to alienate everybody, but weapon degradation is a terrible mechanic that nobody should have. And the game was pretty bland. The Switch did not take full advantage of what they could have done to make a Zelda game beautiful. The dungeons were not really dungeons, and it didn't feel like a Zelda game. And overall, once I had started and stopped like 5 times trying to play it, once I finally got through it, I would say maybe a 6 out of 10 if I was putting a number on it, which I don't love to do, but I would say I'd give it a 6 out of 10. And I don't understand how it's everybody's like greatest game of all time, because it was just a mediocre open world game. It was a mediocre Zelda game, and it was a mediocre Switch game. And I can say that wholeheartedly now because we've seen Xenoblade 3 and how fucking beautiful a game can actually look on the Switch when they intend to do so. So I don't understand why Pokemon looks like ass. I don't understand why Zelda looked the way that it did. And I don't understand why they refuse to make stuff that really looks good when they clearly can. And Xenoblade kind of hammered that point home. So I think we're at the very, very end of the Switch's life cycle. And like we talked about yesterday, it seems if I'm predicting, I predict that Zelda's going to launch. They're going to get through that initial push of sales, and then they're going to announce the next Switch, and then Zelda will be re-released on
as a launch
Switch
title.
as a launch title, and they will try to double dip on their $70 Zelda game, and it will be everybody will buy it because they'll play it the first time. And then they'll be like, oh, but it's on the Switch with the 2 eyes in the middle, because that's what they're going to name it.
Switch!
Switch.
They're going to re-release it, and people are going to buy it because they're going to be like, hey, now it looks better and it runs better, so buy it again. And people will. So,
well, all they'll have to do, right? 60 frames a second. Sold.
yeah. Or
everybody will
they'll bundle it with an exclusive amiibo that nobody will ever take out of the fucking box.
Hey, I take mine out. Mine are actually right behind me.
Yeah,
I'm probably the only one that still buys them. But I only buy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. People still line up at GameStop for when they get amiibos in for like the hard to get ones. I remember
like the Fire Emblem and all that stuff.
Yeah, what was the one? The Ridley. I remember the Ridley amiibo, and I had a buddy that was hunting around.
The 2-pack, right?
And ended up buying it online on eBay for some fucking absurd amount of money because he couldn't find it in any of the stores. It was always sold out. But
yeah, those are the ones I buy. I buy like the brands of the Nintendo stuff that we like, or the Smash characters that are potentially not Nintendo characters. Like I did buy Sephiroth, and I'm sure they'll make a Sora, and I need to have it.
Yeah, of course.
But outside of that, I think that's like kind of a dwindling, market in a sense. It's more just character specific. People are not using them like they used to, like for the features, But if you remember with Metroid, it was paywalled. Yeah. Like they had content on the toy that, But segueing out, that's really, the last thing I wanted to say about the Nintendo Direct was we talking about graphics. We're talking about how Nintendo can't pick and choose, what they want to make look good. But then they put out Metroid Prime Remaster, which from everything I'm reading is the best looking Switch game out there.
It's
and it's a GameCube game.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I've watched gameplay because I wanted to see how it was. I love Prime, and it looks so good, man.
It's insane. Like I saw somebody, they just had Samus out in the rain, and it's like, if you change the angle of the rain, the water rolls down the cannon forward and back. It's like little things that like you don't think Nintendo would usually pay too much attention to detail with.
Yeah.
But again, it's also Retro Studios, so it's different. It's not,
it's first party, but it's not first party. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's like that gray area.
Yep.
But this is definitely that mindset. I think about The Last of Us when PS3, when PS4 was coming out. Last of Us was one of those last games that came out. And it's like, I don't know, like it looks great, but you have a new console coming out. You couldn't wait. Oh, they could wait, but they decided to make you buy it again. And guess what? You bought it again after that.
Yep. Over and over and over.
Time will tell, right?
Yeah. Austin, did you have any thoughts on the Direct? Since we have you here, I know that's not what we're doing.
I did not watch it. I don't pay enough attention to the Switch in general to have felt like I wanted to watch it. I just caught everybody else talking about it, so I saw the $70 thing, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That was about all I heard. Oh, well, and they announced the Katamari a remaster there, right?
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
in that?
A two
That
pack,
was
I
something
think.
I was interested in.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do like Katamari.
I love Katamari. I love Katamari.
Yeah, pretty great. I remember back in middle school, staying up at your house playing on the 360, rolling
Yeah,
around
beautiful,
3-4 o'clock in
beautiful
the morning.
Katamari.
Yeah. Good
Yes,
time.
yeah, I fucking love Katamari, and that one is the one that is good that they're bringing back because the one they remastered before, the Damachi, or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
that was like the original one, and it was missing so much. It made me really sad that that was the one they chose. But the one they're choosing now is like the one
Yeah.
that has everything. So that'll be super exciting. That's
Yeah.
what I'm excited for. It's not even on
Great.
Switch that I want to get it. I want to get it on something else. So
There you go. And that's another thing we were saying too, is just like some of these games that potentially used to be exclusives, they're kind of releasing them on the consoles, like that what was it, the Octoverse? I forget the
Oh
name
no,
of
yeah,
it.
we talked about Octopath Traveler, and the fact that the first one was on the Switch, and I played it, and then it came to PC, and it was like, okay, now I'm gonna play it on PC, and this one is not coming exclusively to Switch. They're also dropping it on console, so I'm getting on the PlayStation. I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm not gonna buy it on the Switch, just because it started there. I'm going to buy it on PS5 because that's where I want to play it. It's a better controller, it's a better system, even if it's a game that now Octopath 2 is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, but it's not, like photorealistic graphics or anything. It's not super intensive, I don't think, but I'm still going to get it on PlayStation. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah,
don't.
it'll
because you
still
have
run
because you have
better
that
there.
choice.
Exactly, because I have the choice to do it. I'm never going to pick the Switch if I have the choice, even for like the ease of transport and whatnot. We talked about it. The Steam Deck's out now. If I want to play games on the go, I'm gonna play on the Steam Deck. So my Switch sits docked. I don't ever undock it really, and I really don't touch it outside of the JRPGs. Yeah, exactly. Look at that thing.
Mine's
Outside of
sitting
the
docked,
Mine
hasn't
too.
been turned on. Can't tell you the last time I turned it on.
yeah
It's the same for
yeah
me.
outside of like really good JRPGs, which I don't need to play on the Switch so much anymore. I'm not going to. Like I just started playing through Persona, obviously. I mean, I did my review for Persona and brought up, I'd never played the games or anything like that. And I was playing through 3, playing through 4 for the review, and I got hooked. And I really, really like playing Persona now. So I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, hey, if you like Persona, you want to play Shin Megami Tensei, you can play 3 Nocturne was remastered. You can play 5. And 5 is only on the Switch. So I had to get it on the Switch. And then I had to choose for 3. I could get it on PlayStation 4 and play it on my PS5, or I could get it on Switch, or I get it on PC. And I bought it on PlayStation 4. I'm going to get it on not the Switch. So it's unless I'm forced to buy something there, I'm not buying it there.
I guess it says something for mine that I only play it docked, and I have an empty dock sitting here right now.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally turned mine on to like look at the store the other day, and I think the last time I turned it on was probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think I played anything last time. So this doesn't bode well for me. I mean, I'm gonna pick up Metroid because I feel like that might be the reason I play it again.
Yeah.
But that's it, and then eventually Zelda. So all right. Hopefully we get our prediction next year. We find out about this new console because we know it's coming.
Yeah.
I think they're past their life cycle,
They are.
if you think about the console. So
They really are.
we shall see. But now I would say, we get into the hunk of the show, right?
Yeah, I have one
Yep.
brief shout out to do. Well, I'm not shouting you out. You're on the show.
No,
We
he
talked about it
called for
yesterday.
the hunk on the show.
Oh, that's true. That's you.
That's me.
That's you. Fucking looking like a snack over there. Yesterday we briefly talked about Dead Space again, and I was saying, hey, I'm working towards getting my 100%, but my very good friend Tony has never done a complete run on a Dead Space game, and we were talking about it prior to me doing it, like, hey, I'm going to do this, and he beat me to the platinum. He's playing on PlayStation, and he got his platinum on his very first Dead Space game, and he got it before I was able to finish it myself. So huge kudos to Mr. Tony the student who has become the master now.
Pew, pew, pew. Pew,
We
pew,
were having
pew.
some
Hand cannon.
fun.
Pew, pew, pew.
Exactly. We were chatting back and forth about that, but I shouted him out on the show yesterday and wanted to shout him out again. And we
But then
also,
you should update the fact that your progress has changed since then.
oh,
Also,
I have since finished my 100% as well. Yes, I am
so
proudly.
Now, when you
come on,
said
we got to get you up there.
oh, when you said he'd never fully completed one, I thought you meant Tony had never beaten a Dead Space game, and I was like, I'm gonna go yell at him after this is done.
I don't know if he had. I don't know if he played them when they came out, to be honest with you.
Then I am gonna go yell at
Tony,
when
I
when we finish
apologize
this.
if I'm slandering you, but I don't know if you actually beat Dead Space on the Xbox. Maybe you did, and I'm wrong, but I feel like probably not. I'm not going to call you in the middle of the show and ask you. So my apologies if I'm slandering you. We'll find out. But yeah, so that kind of covers what we went over yesterday. We have a couple ad reads to do at the end that we'll fit in. But today, what we wanted, this was already planned prior to losing our last episode. We wanted to have Austin on to discuss VR, specifically VR chat, a VR server that he is an admin for that he helps run on Discord. That is enormous, has taken off. How many people do you have now in there roughly?
I think it just went over 7,000, I think.
7,000
Wow.
members
Awesome.
of a community on Discord that gets together, plays VR games, supports each other, run community events. They have a book club. There's all kinds of stuff, and I'm gonna let Austin dive into a lot of that as we go. So this is gonna be kind of an interview style show, but not so much because Austin's obviously a longtime friend and someone that's been on the show before. So it's gonna be kind of a conversation, but built around and focused on interviewing for VR. So I will let you kind of give your intro to what the Ancient server is, Austin, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I mean, the Ancient server, you kind of mentioned it already, a lot of the overarching things, but it's I don't know. I mean, anyone who plays video games can relate to the fact that most video games once you've become an adult and are playing video games, it seems like every video game you play is just toxic children running around yelling at you and saying insults about your mother and all of the things they'll do to her, and plenty of slurs. You learn lots of those from the children.
Are you playing Fortnite too?
Yeah, yeah. So VR chat, one of the big problems that it has is that lots of parents love to shove their kids into a VR headset to just get them to do anything other than run around the house screaming. So there are lots of children in there. And so it's like a huge problem that people experience in there. So we made this server specifically to be 18 plus, but not like 18 plus,
Right.
It's specifically for adults to find other adults to interact with in the game, and exclusively adults, and not have to worry about children. And it's in a moderated format where we make sure that we don't verify everybody's over 18, but we make sure that they act like they are adults while they're in there. We run tons of events every week in there. It's like, I think we've got like 20 up right now because of how many people are in there. We've got like 5 a day at this point that run in there of all sorts of various things between games and hanging out and talking, watching movies together. People do that a lot. All sorts of things that's in there. It's growing exponentially, and we've got like 50 people on the staff to handle everything. It's ridiculous.
It's an incredibly
That's incredible.
well-run server now too. So I had joined relatively shortly after you joined, right? Back
I think
a couple years ago.
basically, right? It was like I joined in April 2021, which was a month after it started. So
Yeah. So it was a really new server. I joined up with you, and it was not anywhere close to the size it is now. But it wasn't super heavily moderated. It was kind of more just a group of friends, it seemed like, that were kind of running it. And then it took off, and the cart got ahead of the horse a little bit. And they really didn't have the tools in place or the experience to moderate it and run it the way that it needed to be run necessarily. So I had stepped away. I had sold my index and was in the process of moving, so I wasn't playing VR very much anyway. I'd stepped away. You ended up taking over in an administrative position, and obviously you're a very humble person, so you're going to be like, credit to all the people that I work with and credit to all the people that you work with. But you were, in my thought, instrumental in kind of righting that ship and understanding how to actually moderate and run a Discord community of that size and help train the other admins and the mods and everybody else. And all of you have taken it into this huge successful thing. They were doing a documentary, what was it, for HBO, about VR chat and all that, and the producers for HBO had approached you guys about participating in the documentary, and you guys were like, no. No.
Yeah, I think that was what we learned it was for afterward. But yeah, it was, we didn't want to corporatize anything or get money involved in the server, so we just said no, thank you.
Yeah, you wanted to keep it community focused, and you have taken that community focused approach, and I feel like that is bled into every aspect of that server, and it is so much more than it ever would have been before, I think. And I'm back in there.
I'll say that a lot of it, like, I am very personally heavily focused on the back end things of the administrative stuff, so I do participate in the community a lot. But a lot of the I more or less have helped create the like structure for the things, and then everybody else kind of interacts within the structure and keeps it running that way more than I do, I would say. I very rarely host any events myself, and I introduce myself to everybody when I meet them as, hey, I don't really play this very much, but I really like the community and helping keep it running, so I talk in here constantly, and I like to assemble the things and make it so everybody else can do what they want to do and make sure it's a good place for that.
Yeah.
The other mods and we have the guides team, which are the people that focus on making new members that are coming in feel like they're welcomed. And all of those people help the community grow and people feel welcome. I would say I'm more on the back end of making sure it's in place.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's very apparent. Like I said, I'm back in that server now because I got an Oculus, and I don't, participate a ton because I just don't have time. But it's so well run, and it's crazy to have a community that's that large. Like you said, 7,000 people, where it almost feels like everybody knows each other, though. Like it's a very homey, very welcoming. Like nobody feels like a stranger. You talk to somebody maybe for the first time, but it's like you've known them. It's like you know that person. It's like a small town. You go to do something, and it's like, oh yeah, there's so and so that I know runs this, and here's so and so that I know does this, and here's so and so that I know does this. Like everybody has a role and fits into that community, and I keep saying community. It really is a community, which is. I mean, it's just an unbelievable achievement in my eyes to bring that many people together around something that you wouldn't necessarily think would have such a community. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so a lot of it, like you said, feels like the small town. The way I've liked to describe it is I relate it to almost like the lunchroom at school.
Yeah.
You can pick out all of these people. You may not necessarily know all of these people, but you have seen them all around, and you can recognize that like there's groups of people that hang out, and then at random times everyone comes together, but you still kind of have your groups of people that are hanging out, and they like to introduce. It's a little kinder than a school, I think, but there's a lot of people that intermingle between all of these groups and cycle in and out. And I know some of our mutual friends, one of their comments or maybe complaints is that, or points of confusion, I suppose, is when I go and do like a voice chat in there and 12 people join, and they're like, I don't know any of these people, so it's really hard to talk. And I don't know any of these people. I'm just talking to them because they know the community and they know people I know. Some of them I know or recognize, but they're all just here because of the server.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun, man. Not for nothing. I mean, I'm not somebody that has, like Tyler, a lot of time to be able to dedicate to VR. And, from the outside perspective, the stuff that I see is like, the stuff you see on YouTube, the stuff you see like just videos of, and it's exactly what you mentioned, that segregated world of a couple of people trying to just have fun, chill out, and then just the block of kids and
Mm-hmm.
the Ugandan knuckles and the
Yes, yes.
and the
Yes.
trolls and the just like it's like I can laugh at it, but it's like I don't know if I want to be a part of that,
Yeah. Makes it
but
hard
like
to like hang out long term.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you kind of poke your head in, yikes, and like that's like
Mm-hmm.
me. I use an example of me first ever putting on Final Fantasy 11, logging in, walking in as soon as my character like populated. The guy's like, "You got any money for me?" I'm like, I can deal with this in real life. Logged off. Like, I get people begging me for money. I just started the game. Like, what is
Uh-huh.
going on? You know, but
Yeah.
New York.
pretty
There's a
much.
New
lot
York
of
part two.
there's a lot of very heavy organization to the stuff that we do to keep it from falling into madness like a public lobby of a game does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I commend you guys for that. It sounds awesome. Tyler's mentioned a lot about it, and I feel like the old man in the room for uh, literal reasons, but also, when it comes to Discord, it's just something that I haven't really gotten a hold of to like do it well. Tyler at one point helped also with my Neon Arcadia. We had that channel. It's just something that I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But like I'm looking to do that because I see that a lot of people, kind of have gone that route, and there's a lot of positivity from a lot of the servers that I see.
Yeah.
And it's great to see this. I do have an Oculus, and finally spent a little more time using it. Like I started playing Resident Evil 4. That was something we talked about yesterday. Just why am I playing Resident Evil 4 for the 38th time on the 38th console when it's coming out next month again for another console? And it's because I'm a sucker of Resident Evil, and I can't get enough of it. And this is my way of kind of completing the circle. I've officially purchased it on every platform that it's ever been released on. So,
We're gonna need to do a playthrough when the
oh,
remake comes
dude,
out. We'll have to do
yeah,
a playthrough here on the
100%.
channel.
I think that would be awesome. I'm all
Yep.
for it.
Yeah, we'll set
But
up a schedule and get that done. Also, speaking of Discord, so the plan, obviously, this is episode 2, so we're a ways off. But we have kind of a roadmap for the year, and a big part of our plan is we're going to set up a Patreon later this year to try to fund kind of getting things rolling a little further. And the very first thing that we're going to add to that is going to be a private Discord for people that want to come join the community for this show. And I'll be in there, Benny will be in there, Austin will be in there, and that'll be a place for anybody that wants to watch the show and get a little bit further, a little closer to us, I guess. I don't know what the right way to put that is, but a private Discord for our community will be the first thing that we put on that Patreon, probably. So if you like Discord, stay tuned for that at some point.
I'm sure I'll be in the same role there that I just mentioned for the other server that I do. The back
Absolutely.
end
Anytime I need a
helping keep
Discord
it.
server set up, I'm just like, Austin, come
yeah,
admin this
we
for me.
we will definitely need that. Please and
Come
thank you.
construct it.
I have a lot of experience doing this at this point, and like 30 different servers I've made for people.
I'm surprised you haven't turned this into a job yet. Like
I
Discord
don't know
community
how.
manager, super easy. Go on LinkedIn. Seriously, you see
Yeah.
posts all the time for people looking for community managers. You could make some good money being a Discord community manager.
Gotta keep my my passions
Yes,
separate from my
separate from
jobs,
your work. No, I spend every waking moment trying to figure out how to turn my passions into something
Oh
that
yeah,
gives me money.
I agree.
My specific brand of anxiety and obsession is how can I monetize the things that I love?
I
Yeah, I
don't
think
love
that's
making
something.
Discord servers. Know how to.
That's true. That's true.
No, fair enough. Yeah. But I think we all find that love in one way or another. All ties to games and collectibles and music and movies and just things that make us happy. And that's really what this show is all about. And this is just like I said, a little segment of the variety of things that we're going to discuss. VR is something that hasn't gone in that grand scale yet because it's much more approachable from a consumer standpoint. But I feel that people are still a little more like they're still hesitant on, adapting to it. But I think we're at a really good time in its life cycle because the Oculus made it very accessible. The functionality is great. It's simple, it's easy to use, and it works great for like this type of scenario where you can, when I think about it, I think about, the book Ready Player One or the movie, and just
Mhm.
how we're getting closer to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially in that world where you can create an avatar and you can kind of almost like you could choose to live a different life or you can just extend your life
People
in.
do. People
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely do in there.
which is crazy, but I get it. You know what I mean? It's a drug in a sense, it's like an escape. You know what I mean? Obviously in moderation, just like everything else. But it's really cool to see how much it's evolved over the years. Like I remember like doing VR like 6, 7 years ago with like big
Mhm.
bulky headsets you had to go to a like an arcade for 13 wires hanging out of it, and then you just having like the most massive headache when you take it off,
Yeah.
you know, and then having the same experience with PSVR
Yeah.
because because that's the reason I didn't play that because it's like I literally would just get motion sickness of whatever played, and I think that it was a part of the um the resolution because
Yeah.
like I'd play a game and I'm like, oh, why do I feel off? Now I play Resident Evil 4 in Oculus, I'm walking around and I'm not getting
Hmm.
sick,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is, I feel like I can that's a great, great, move forward, for the technology.
Yeah.
So,
I know
And it
you
seems like,
mentioned that it's not super mainstream yet, and I do agree. But having been somebody who is like the immediate early adopter of the current generation of VR, it is way bigger than when I started, and it's amazing to see that change because I bought a Vive like a month after it came out, I think. So
yeah.
that was back in 2015, 2016. I can't remember off the top of my head. And since then, the community and games available around it have changed so much. It's so much better than it was. At that point,
Mhm.
there were like 3 games that were okay, and then there were a couple just they called them experiences at the
Yeah.
time.
yes, it was all like glorified demos.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, I had reviewed, Vive, the Vive unit was sent to me as a loaner to review, and I played it and I enjoyed it, and I was surprised that my computer at the time could handle it because this computer is not much older than that, and I loved playing the Brookhaven experiment. I
Brookhaven
was like,
that's
I
the
was
game my wife always played.
sucker for it. Yeah, like it was awesome. I'm like, oh, I can like lean my head. This is so cool.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
they really have come a long way, and with the Oculus, I've actually only played 2 or 3 games, and it's for some reason it's always zombie games. I'm a sucker for zombie games. Like I love Arizona Sunshine. Can't get enough of it. Like I'm playing that gradually, and then Beat Saber, like Synth Riders. Being a synthwave artist, like
Hmm.
that game is really awesome, and they worked with the synthwave community. There's artists that I know that are in that game, so that's the part that I like seeing. That's the part I see grow, because like it's really community and they're really reaching out to the people that are like interacting with it and they're growing the game itself around the
Hmm.
people that enjoy it. And kudos, to every company that's doing that. That's the great approach. It's just, the parent life, it's hard to put on a headset and, block your responsibilities, if you will, even with Guardian mode.
Yeah.
'Cause
Hey,
It's
I
now
don't
way
my
harder
kid
I don't
than
have
comes
to
even
worry
with
about that.
regular games.
Yeah,
I'm
so
free from
like
those.
bravo, bravo. But like even with my kid, like he'll come in here like, can you take that off? Like, it's like I've had it up for 5 minutes. I just want to enjoy myself for a little bit.
Yep.
But I get it, you know what I mean? But yeah, great job from what I've heard, and I'd like to jump on there and kind of get a bird's eye view and see what that's all about too. And you
if
guys
you're
got to
not
teach me the way. That's the thing. You got to
if you're
teach me
not
how to
familiar with if you're not familiar with Discord, you're gonna go into the server and be like, oh my god,
There's a
we've
lot
got like
happening.
100 channels in there.
Hmm.
Like
Speaking of the
I
server,
know
though,
it, but it's like my big thing is I don't get the notifications. So that's like a side problem.
we
You
can
know,
we
like
can fix that as soon as we're done with this call. Get you set up to get notifications.
I did want to throw in one comment on what you'd mentioned before about just games in general on VR
Yeah.
and like various qualities and whatnot that come from them. They can be really bad or they can be really good. Um, so one of the big things for me with VR chat is the games. That's my favorite part of VR chat personally, is the games that they have. So since it's all community created, there's no real limit to what can be inside VR chat. Like, most of what you see on VR chat and YouTube is just a lot of people hanging out in a room talking and bullshitting with each other. But they have their own scripting language built into the game that piggybacks off of another one I don't actually know. I haven't gotten into that part of it. But they have a scripting language in there that they use to let people create whole custom games inside of VR chat. You're still the avatar that you would have chosen, the character, but there's so many different rule sets and scripted game events that can be played, from like prisoners versus guards sorts of things is one of the ones that I really like to play. But they have tons of them. There's shooter games. We play a bunch of like different 8v8 shooters and all sorts of things in there.
yeah, I wonder now, like I've always seen, unfortunately, I have a bad habit of spending too much time on TikTok watching videos. And I will find a lot of VR, people playing, and like they're always doing weird stuff. Like they have like Spider-Man powers, they have a gun. I'm like, is that VR chat? Is that something you can do in like a VR
A
chat
lot
where
of
you
it.
can kind of, because I was wondering,
Yeah.
like, you can't tell what game they're playing, but it's like, the guy's like talking to the
Mhm.
the AI character, picking him up, shaking him, throwing him off the building, and then Spider-Man webbing under, and then pulling out a Glock.
I
I'm like, what is going on?
That's Bone Labs. That's what that game is. I know what you're
Okay,
talking
see.
about.
Bone
Dude,
Labs is
like
fantastic.
it's just hilarious because obviously when people have the personality for the commentary side, like that's the part that makes it
Mhm.
amusing for me. Or like when people play the games that'll have the bar fights and they're just like
Mhm.
having a conversation,
Yes.
pouring like
Yes.
the VR liquor on them and stuff. It's so silly, but like it's a cool departure from what we're used to playing, when you think about it.
It
Hmm.
really changes the social aspect of gaming. And I
Truly.
think, not to dive again, our our listener and our guy that gives us feedback, Stan, will be displeased with this segment. But not to be a downer and bring up the pandemic 2 weeks in a row, but during COVID, you can't go out. You weren't supposed to go out. It was hard to get that human connection and in-person interaction. And I think that was a big part of what grew VR chat specifically, because you could literally just go to a pool hall and
Hmm.
you can drink at your house under the headset, and you could stand there and drink at a bar and shoot pool with your friends from the safety of your own house. You know what I mean? So that's such a big thing for a lot of people, especially my first time in the server was in the heart of COVID and the pandemic and everything else and lockdowns and all that. And that was such a big escape for so many people that were like, man, I'm such an extroverted social person, and I'm losing my mind at home because I can't engage in these social activities. This has been a lifesaver for a lot of people. So I think that kind of really helped push the medium forward and grow the game and the audience that it found. And that was a really cool
Definitely.
thing.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, unfortunately for me, I didn't get to gravitate towards VR. Tyler hates the fact that it turned me into a Fortnite player, but
You're not going to be allowed in the
when
server. You play Fortnite all the time and you watch TikTok. You're a 13-year-old
Uh-oh.
boy. You're not
You
allowed
don't
to be in the
qualify.
18. Yeah. Yeah, those are
all
two of
right,
the red flags when someone's playing Fortnite or talking about their TikToks. That's how you know. Yeah, you don't belong in this adult server.
all right. So should I be flossing and dabbing while I'm at it?
Stop it.
Okay,
Stop
well that puts you back in because that's out of date. So it shows you're old.
Oh, okay, got it.
it.
Well, because you know,
You're back
Stan,
in.
we'll bring Stan in again. Stan loves to ask me if I'm flossing and spending my money on skins, even though I did buy a Dead Space skin, so you should be happy about that.
Nope, I'm not. Not happy about anybody giving Tim Sweeney $1.
Now
Nope,
you're
nope.
upset. Now you're upset because you learned Dead Space is in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nope, nope. Can't do it.
I ruined your day.
Can't do it.
Well, the good news is there's a lot of games coming out this year. It gives me a reason to step away from it. So I'm excited for that because if you think about last year, the amount of games that were delayed was, you know, through the roof. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get them this year and we don't have to hear the pandemic excuse, you know, as much. You know, oh, the pandemic is making it harder. Like, well, most people are supposed to be back at work by now, you know.
Yeah.
Again, the world is different, but
Very
we've
much
already
so.
gotten a couple of solid games this year, and we have a couple more in the coming months. So
Oh yeah.
um, hopefully those will keep me away, and then I'll get my respect back from you.
Exactly.
He's
Exactly.
all grown
So
up.
Austin, is it I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen how it works to get in. Is the server still open right now? Are you still taking new members to
Yeah, yeah.
the
It
agent
probably
server?
won't ever be locked.
Okay.
If you
Um,
just Google Ancients of VR chat, you'll run into it.
well, if
I've
you're able to
advertised it in a
generate
million
me,
places.
if you're able to generate me a an invite link, a non-expiring invite link, we'll put it in the description of the video. So anybody that's watching and or listening that's interested in joining and checking out what the Ancient server is all about, please follow the link in the description of the video, and you can join in there and introduce yourself, and we'll be excited to have you.
Yep, and if you feel like typing it in Discord, we actually have a custom URL that Discord lets you use. So if you can just, it's Discord's custom URL is /Ancients of VR chat.
Oh, sweet, great.
Awesome.
Please come join, come check it out, come say hi, tell us that we sent you. Thank you. So
There it is.
I have a follow-up for you. While we were doing the show, I texted Tony and I was like, Tony, did you play through the Dead Space games when they first came out? And he has confirmed that yes, in fact, he did play the whole trilogy to completion a couple times.
Oh,
So
hopefully nobody tuned out before this. Now they're gonna think.
now they're gonna be upset. Sorry, Tony.
Oh, we put a little blurb and it's like, make sure to skip to this point for follow up.
Put a little. Well, I'll do a little text overlay during that section. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to bring to the table as far as that goes?
Nope, nothing I can think of at the moment.
Are you going to
I'd like
buy PSVR 2?
Probably not. I mean, it depends on if they have any exclusives that catch my eye. I may be encouraged to, but at the moment, I don't really have a plan to.
So that's kind of where we landed. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we can't justify the money on it right now because there aren't enough. Yes, Horizon's coming, but that's not enough for me to drop the money on that headset. Maybe if a price drop comes in the future, or if they really start getting a robust library of must-play VR titles, but at least at launch, I don't think any of us, unless Sony is kind enough to send over a review unit, I don't think any of us are checking out PSVR at launch or PSVR 2.
Yeah, I am a money spender on technology, so they could easily sway me. I don't know. Not at the moment. There's nothing in particular that'll catch my eye just because I have the index and there's everything I could play there already. But you know, they may be able to, depending.
Yeah, I'll be the minority and say like, yeah, I'm not getting it right now, but like I want it. I just worry that the amount of money that you invest in it for the time that I can commit to it, and is it going to be played? Because
Yeah.
for me, the fact that my PSVR hasn't been touched in probably a year and a half, 2 years, partially because of the motion sickness, but two, there wasn't a ton of great games. You know, I would say Moss was probably one of the better games that I
And
played
that's
on
everywhere.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can play that on your Oculus, Book 1 and
yeah,
2. You can play that on the Index. You can play that on the Vive. You can play that on all the headsets, to my knowledge. So
yeah. And
the
then
big
they're
thing they'll need is
remastering it
exclusive
for
titles
for
to
two.
push.
I mean, for me, I'm the biggest sucker of Village being in VR and the
Yeah.
fact that I wouldn't have to buy it again because I have the game.
Right.
But again, it's hard to justify pretty much buying another console, a
Yeah.
little more. So I would say eventually I will end up having one. You know what I mean? I think it would be great to bring content to discuss it because I think the vast majority of the gamers out there have the same shared opinion.
Yeah.
There's not enough software out there to commit us to purchasing it.
Especially with how
Horizon,
inexpensive the Quest is and how
well, that
often
too,
it goes on incredible sale. Like it's hard to beat that, man.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, there are the gimmicks, you know what I mean? But then you got to remember that they're gimmicks. You think
Yeah.
about the PS5 and the controller, the dual sense and all that stuff. As most companies go, they release these gimmicks and the third parties almost never use the features.
Correct.
You think about Astro and how well it uses those components of the controller and how much I love that. When was the last game that played to that depth of using the features?
Yeah.
Most of the developers, I don't think that they care enough to do that,
Call of Duty did
especially
a
because they
really
have
good
to.
job with it. I really
Okay,
like the
I
different
didn't.
firearm handling stuff in Call of Duty.
Okay,
Austin is the one that pointed that out
But
to me originally.
but that puts
big
you at a
butts.
notable disadvantage in the game because it takes longer to pull your trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So you also just need to turn it off. So they have a feature that's cool, but it puts you at a disadvantage. I mean, it's a very slight disadvantage, but you die in, I think I remember seeing the times to kill on Modern Warfare 2. You die in like 150 milliseconds from them pulling the trigger to death most of the time. So any little addition of time to pull that trigger, you don't want that.
Right.
Right. So
Especially for
I'd
the
say maybe
fast-paced
if you want
game.
that immersion, from the story campaign, if
Play
anything,
the
more than
campaign,
multiplayer.
exactly.
So yeah, I
But
could
it
see
is
that.
cool. It's a cool representation of what can be done with that technology, although it is a
Right.
bit
Right. I
hindering.
mean, and
So
those are the parts that make me excited just for the PSVR too, is like the eye tracking. I think that's really neat.
yeah.
Like you can actually like look at stuff and get a little more accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your haptic on the controllers because I feel like that's something that VR needs to kind of implement because of
Yeah.
the immersion sense. You know what I mean?
You
So
brought up
hopefully down the line.
Village. You're gonna play Village in VR, and you're gonna do the now I'm not gonna remember the name of the level, but you know what I'm talking about. Trying to get to that elevator
Oh, dude, I
in
want to do that.
VR.
I want to
Nah,
do that. Dude,
fuck out of
I
here,
would
man. Oh my
good
god,
big baby all
big
day,
baby.
bro.
Oh
All
my
day. I'm all
goodness,
for it. Can you
dude.
imagine, bro? That's like
No,
shit your pants scary.
dude, it was shit your pants scary in the regular game. Swear to God, man. My first time
Oh,
playing through,
dude.
I just said no. Mm-mm,
Panic attacks,
mm-mm.
bro. Nope,
Nope.
nope.
Yeah,
Just
nope.
quit.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my
I love the
God.
game so much, honestly.
It's
I
such a
played
good
it
game.
so much. I think I beat it 8 times already.
I'm irritated. So I got 100% on it on Steam. And if you're familiar with how Steam works, it's kind of like PlayStation, where you don't get a platinum trophy, but it gives you like a little
Yeah.
metal thing almost. And you can display your 100% completed games on your profile. But when the DLC launched for Village, it took that away from me. It no longer counts it as 100% complete until I get all
Because
the
you have to
achievements in the
for the
DLC.
DLC.
And I'm like, oh my God, I have to go back and I have to do 100% of the DLC so I can put Village back on my profile. Very upsetting.
And did you do the
um,
DLC at all? Not to
Not yet,
segue.
no.
Okay.
No, it's on my list to get done.
I haven't even played it. I need to actually play it at some point. Um, but and so for the PSVR 2 though, I will say one of the big features that I don't think a lot of people even know what is entirely because unless you've followed VR up till now, it's not a term you've probably heard thrown around a million times like I have at this point. The foveated rendering that they have with the eye tracking, that actually does give it a good chance of being really good in the future and being a good thing for VR and being potentially the better headset, like running wise. Because what that does is, so it tracks your eyes, like you said, you can tell where you're looking, but it also relays where you're looking to where you're looking on the screen, and it just keeps the crispness where you're
Yes.
looking, and it renders higher resolution where your eyes are at any given time. So as you
Which
bounce
is
around,
amazing.
the further from where you're looking is blurrier, but you don't notice because you're not looking there.
Because
Cool.
in
And it helps
theory,
so
it's the same thing like in real life. And that
Yep.
was a big part of it that I was like, that's really cool because I feel the blur is a thing that, also
That
adds
screen
to the
door effect.
discomfort.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and given that, it'll also help all the games run better because it's only rendering this space on the screen instead of the whole screen at any given time at full resolution.
Right. That makes sense. All right. I feel like I'm going to go pre-order it now.
We've got him. We've convinced
You're
him
in.
by saying we're not getting it. He's gonna get it. He says,
Well,
"All right,
listen,
I've talked about it enough. It's time."
certain friends of the show will definitely be like, this guy says he's not going to get it. He's definitely going to get it. We know I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of when I
We
get
do.
it. So
I
we'll leave
probably
it at
will at
that.
some point too.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to sell a couple of those figures, and you'll be fine.
I got plenty to sell. That's for
No
sure.
doubt. No
That's
doubt.
for sure. I'll
Hey,
sell
that's
my
okay.
I'll sell all my kids' stuff. I
We're
got
gonna have
plenty
to
of plenty of FNAF doubles.
No. No, what we're gonna need to do, we'll get you set up with a decent camera and have you do like a full walkthrough of your collection and put it up.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, I could do it with my phone. I got the 13, so I got the full
Okay.
4K 60 frames.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
we'll have
mean,
you
you'll get lost in here.
walkthrough. Yep.
You'd also
we
get a
need to-
look
we
at
need
all
to
my
show it off.
collection.
Yeah, look at that dog.
Oh yeah,
Look at that
Puppy
dog.
I got nothing.
Hey man, I mean, I closed my door. I said, should I keep the door closed? I mean, do people want to see more of his closet?
It's obscene,
Closet.
man. Obscene. I'm one to talk, but it's obscene.
Oh wait, I mean, you haven't seen these walls.
Nope.
That's
That's what I'm saying.
here.
We need.
Here, we'll have a little bit of fun.
Ooh,
We'll have a
it's a
brief.
tour.
We'll have a little tour. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
There
dude.
you
You
go.
know, we
Nice.
need this, and we need a 4K, like a real
Nice.
tour.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a good looking room.
And then the closet of doom.
Yeah,
It
dude.
it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, we'll definitely do that. That'll be awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything for this week. We've got a couple brief ad reads to do for some folks that have helped us out. Austin, do you have anything else you want to add at this point in time?
Nope, nothing at all.
Nice.
I'll
All
think
right.
about something after you end. Okay.
Sounds good. Yes, we'll add it in. We'll do a post show. Real quick, I want to, I did this yesterday again, but we're doing it again. I want to say that our show is made possible only through the support of companies like Loop Deck, who have sent me the Loop Deck Live S. They sent it for review, not necessarily to help facilitate the construction of this show, but it has been an integral part of our ability to get this set up and hit the ground running. I control my streams. I control the recording for the show. I control audio. I control video feeds. When we do go to start streaming and kicking that off, I'll be able to control the music and the loading screen. What do you call it? Starting coming soon screen or starting soon screen. Everything you could possibly need is controlled through the Loop Deck, which, if you're not familiar, is a stream deck, which basically all of your inputs run through that to your computer. So instead of having to tab over and click on things on your monitors and run different processes, it's all controlled, which I can't show you mine because it's actually set up for my computer right now, but it's all controlled with a little box with touchscreen buttons and dials, and you can adjust everything on the fly, and it makes it so smooth, so seamless. If you're in any way interested in streaming or video creation content, anything like that, you need a stream deck of some kind, and the Loop Deck is, in my opinion, the best one on the market right now. So I'm going to include a link in the description to an introduction video that Loop Deck has on their YouTube page for the Live S, if you want to get more in depth with what this deck actually does, as well as a link to their website. I cannot recommend them highly enough, and we will have a written review for the Live S up on Gaming Age here shortly. The other big one we talked about was Displate, which, Austin, it's nice that you're here because you have a Displate behind you. Displate is the maker of incredibly high quality metal posters. They have everything from Marvel to DC to Lord of the Rings to bands to standard art to, and truly anything you can think of, hundreds of thousands of designs. And they come on metal posters, which make them super easy to pull off your wall if you need to. Super easy to move from room to room. My Displates have come with me across 3 houses, 2 different states on opposite ends of the country, and no issues whatsoever. They don't fade in the sun. You don't have to worry about getting a frame for them. You don't have to worry about them falling apart. You don't have to worry about them getting damaged necessarily in shipment. They're extremely durable. They're extremely light. They're easy to mount, and they're gorgeous. The artwork is incredible. They get them. It's very, very detailed. They do a fantastic job. I got a Displate from the company to review for Gaming Age as well. That article is live. We'll have a link in the description as well as a link to Displate's site. If you're looking for something high quality, durable, and beautiful to display your passions in your house, apartment, workplace, wherever, check out Displate. Benny, did you have anything you wanted to add today?
I do, actually. It was funny enough, we weren't able to talk about it last show because we went a little over, but I am working with a company called the Valari, who has created this awesome pillow. It's a gamer pillow. And as my wife, I'll just throw it out there. My wife was like, "That looks like a pregnancy pillow." And I'm like, "It kind of is. It's like a boppy." For those listeners that are parents, you know what a boppy is, or a pregnancy pillow. Pretty much you can. I mean, you could use it for a lot of different things, but for me, the biggest thing that have loved about this is, I'm a big guy, so I can't wear it. Like it's got locking mechanisms on the bottom, which is really cool. So like when you're not using it, you can kind of like wrap it up and like clip it closed to keep it, put it away. But for me, like when I sit on my sofa downstairs playing my games, like I tend to have like bad posture and all that stuff. And I've learned that, literally you just rest it on your stomach and you put it over yourself and you can literally, it just changes, like you're just chilling. It's such a laid back, it's such a simple mechanism, but like the fact that it's themed for gamers, you know what I mean? Because you can't convince a gamer to use a pregnancy pillow. And if they are, they're not telling you that they are, right?
Exactly.
Let's just be honest.
Nobody's advertising
it. So, what's really cool is, they have different colors and styles. They have different stitching you can get. This is the Oni style. They have a Halo themed one. Really nice company, and it was one of those companies that just popped up on my Facebook feed, and I was like, I like weird different things that some people will be like, oh, that's dumb, you know what I mean? But for me, it's like it's awesome. It's really come in handy for me, and it's just me sitting on my sofa that's actually falling apart. It's made it a lot more tolerable. So we'll put a link in for the Valari. You can get all different options in there. And thank you guys for sending it over. I'll have some discussions on Gaming Age in the coming weeks for, my time with it. But that's what I have for now. So thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, Austin, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we will have you back on here very shortly, but thank you for coming on and sharing about VR and sharing the community and everything else with us. It's been really great getting to sit down and have this conversation.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sure I will be back and help you set up the Discord server.
Exactly.
Good to have you back again. And it's always great working with you, brother.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right, buddy.
That's all I got, buddy.
Take care and have fun.